We good? I think we good. Hello? Y'all can hear me, people? We are back. I think we're back. I'm not 100% sure, but we're going to make sure we back. And since the last song, I guess, since the last one, and that song, Gazing Eyes Out, the piano, all that, that was all me. And, the last song went a little rocky. We're going to go back to this throwback right here, this song I wrote before all this stuff got kicking. And it was a song I wrote that was called Modern Day Slavery. And I think you really enjoy this one. It is one of my personal favorites. So yeah, please enjoy. And then we're gonna get into this because I got my opinions on everything. So I'm gonna share them.
We don't go outside no more. We don't leave out our front door. Everything that we might need, it appears right on your screen. It ain't real as it may seem. Got you living in your dreams. Tell me, what do you believe? Modern day slavery.
Yeah. Wow. That was a throwback. That's a throwback. I mean, wow. That's something I wrote years ago, and it's so wild to just see so many things in the lyrics actually come to pass. I mean, if you're if you the chorus is just if you're hearing, we don't go outside no more. This is years ago. We don't go outside no more. We don't leave out our front door. Everything that we might need, it appears right on your screen. It ain't real as it may seem. They got you living in a dream. Tell me, what do you believe? It's modern day slavery. And I wonder why they didn't want to sign me. And I wonder why they didn't want to sign me. Interesting. You know, I got an interesting show tonight because I want to weigh in on some of this stuff everybody's talking about, you know, with this guy, Mr. Kirk, and all of this. You know, I mean, I'm not here to talk ill of him or say anything negative about him. So let's not go there. I think that this individual is a pawn and is being used to create a much larger state of confusion. That's what I find to be true. And I'm going to show you in some of these video examples that I have this evening to just show you how this PsyOp is real, how they are seriously rolling this out for you. No matter, you have to realize they have curated your responses. Your response is curated. You're saying exactly what they want you to say. You're sitting at home having the conversations and getting into the same disputes that they want you in. That's what you seem to not realize. See, when they create something and put it in front of you, they don't think just go, I want this person to feel this way. They go, when this person sees this, I want them to say, this is a battle for good and evil. That's what they want. They done curated the very words coming out of your mouth, and yet you think it's your ideal. Once again, do we have to do this again? Should I show you again? Should I show you again? Pay attention, people. Pay attention. See, because your Holocaust has been marketed to you. Your rapture has been marketed to you. Your identity has been marketed to you.
So, gentlemen, you wish to introduce a chain of vegetarian restaurants into the Russian market. I've analyzed the results of the focus group, and frankly, I must say you have a problem. Russians just don't like your product. Marketing.
And the reason I'm showing you this from this vegan perspective here is very crucial. It's very crucial, the reason I'm showing you this with this vegan perspective. You see, what you don't fail to realize is marketed. And how they marketed the revolution through you was through veganism. You're not even eating real vegetables. You're not even eating real vegetables. Your revolution, your upheaval, your uprising, your civil war has been marketed to you from people who eat meat and people who don't eat meat. Now, there were only a small number of vegans back in even 2004. So let's get this. You have to understand this. But by 2019, more than 10 million people. By 2025, more than 6% of the population is all connected. You see, the ideology of veganism is not just health and wellness. Notice a lot of these. This is, let me tell you, I was someone who had a mother who blessed me. I'm older than I look. When I was eating that stuff, eating healthy foods and eating raw foods, there wasn't even, you was just a vegetarian. That was the only name that existed. That was it. But they have marketed you this health lifestyle because what's connected to it? What's connected to, remember when they first pushed this veganism on you? They did it in a very, very deceptive way. They gaslit you. They made you feel guilty. They showed you all the slaughter of the animals. They showed you screaming animals. They put posters up saying, oh, that's a puppy. They wouldn't eat a puppy. You love puppy. Put a chick next to it. Oh, would you eat that? Why would you eat that? That's a cute baby. Would you eat that? They did these things, and what is all connected to? You got recycling, right? Climate change, global warming. All of these things are connected to this mentality of health. But look who's bringing it to you. It's a marketing ploy.
Russian market. I've analyzed the results of the focus group, and frankly, I must say you have a problem. Russians just don't like your product. Marketing in its traditional form is simply powerless here.
Thank you for your very interesting opinion, Mr. Galkin.
I do, however, have a proposal. Something which exceeds the limits of marketing in its traditional form. But first, let me ask you a question. How far are you willing to go to solve your problem?
We are ready for anything. Anything within the law, of course.
I'm afraid that's not going to be far enough, gentlemen.
In this scene here, notice behind their heads are the entities. You see, this is the representation of the archons, right? This is a Russian film called Branded. You might not find it on any of your streaming services anymore, but you definitely can find it on YouTube. Now, if you were someone like me who was into films back then, you probably seen this movie and forgot about it. But if you're one of the people that's awake and saw it back then there's no way you forgot about this movie, because this movie literally has a lot of things that's happening in front of us. It's played in this, going down in this movie is going down right now, down to the red heifer sacrifice, right? So just understand that and the reason I'm showing you this scene is because you see, this is how it operates. Now, of course, it is in a more Hollywood or film driven way. But you can see the message that the filmmaker is intending to send through the imagery and through the dialogue is very clear. So I just want you to keep analyzing this. Listen to this, because when we get into the other things, and I show you this, because all this is happening right now, right? And I done grab a couple of videos from YouTube and a couple of compilation things where they have all of these stories sort of put into one, so we can analyze it in a more cohesive narrative, because they scatter everything out. And then it doesn't allow you to put together a cohesive narrative. So we're going to watch a couple things, and then you're going to see the marketing. Because once you start thinking about this like marketing, you'll understand the PsyOp.
We are ready to go. Fine enough.
Fine. Then I would like you to mass produce and market a little apparatus for testing beef. A beef tester, for short. What? A beef tester.
What?
Now notice, what does he tell this vegetarian company? I want you to go make a beef tester, because the first thing we want to do is we want to set up this thing where beef is dangerous. And not just dangerous, that you got to take all these extra steps in order to enjoy it, and that's unnecessary. Okay? That's what this is about right now. Now, it's hard to tell that this wasn't made in the current day right now, but I assure you this movie's over 10 years old.
Биф-тестеры от Каяка Групп. Ваш единственный щит от смертельной вкуснятины.
How in the world do we literally have this kind of advertisement, these kind of social media memes, these kind of things actually happen? This is before that stuff existed. There was none of that. This film came out in like it initially came out in I think 2011 and then here in like 2012. So that's before any of that stuff. Now notice that this is in the advertising in their firm. They're watching the test of it. They're looking back at it. Now notice what happens, because these are now when I want you to think of the PsyOp, because remember when mad cow disease started. Remember how they started pitching avian food to you. Notice how they keep creating these scares for the food that we eat, and while companies keep coming out with alternatives without knowing. So let's just keep going on this one.
Yeah, it's good. Just add some graphics that say, test your beef or taste your death.
Hi, guys. Despite the beef tester campaign's insinuation, only 12% of Russians polled believe there is a link between mad cow disease and the deadly new virus that has to date claimed over 500 lives. In response, the Russian...
Notice what he's trying to show you here. He's showing how what he did, how it got to the news, right? The viralness of what he's doing by putting out these commercials with beef testers. It had nothing to do with nothing else. He just capitalized off the fact that when he put out ads saying that beef could possibly, he didn't say directly in that ad that it is dangerous. He was saying that it could be dangerous. He said, test your beef or taste your death. Pause. But anyway, you understand what I'm saying.
Minister of Food and Agriculture consumed a hamburger live on TV today during a press conference in which he announced a nationwide ban on the campaign. As a result, restaurant chain Dim Sum has reported record losses for last quarter.
You tell Mr. Mintao banning the beef tester campaign was part of the plan. You tell him that now is the time to open and advertise his restaurants. A lot of restaurants. And tell him that I would suggest not limiting his campaign to Russia alone.
What?
Now I notice they coming to him, he's showing they're upset. They're pissed. They're like, we just dumped millions of dollars. We're thinking that this is supposed to make our businesses, we're taking a dive. And he said, this is the perfect time. Now, what I want you to do, I want you to open a bunch of restaurants, open stores everywhere. Have them everywhere. Have them everywhere. How many times have we seen this? How many times have we seen this? I'm giving you something cohesive. This is the game.
Following the government's ban on the advertising campaign for beef testers and the sudden unexplained death of the Russian Minister of Food and Agriculture, consumers are now completely convinced that beef is deadly dangerous. Когда я говорю гамбургер, ваша ассоциация вкусно, голод?
Смерть. Гамбургер. Смерть.
Meanwhile, over the last 3 days, 30 new vegetarian restaurants opened in Moscow alone, where one can eat without having to test every slice of beef. Whether this newfound love of all things vegetable will stick, only time can tell.
Now just let that sink in. See, that's all I wanted you to see right there. Do you understand now? Now, before we get deep into this other part, let me pull this up right now. Now what we're going to do is I'm going to show you how we're going to go back to this first what we're going to do, because this is all happening now. I want to show you what they saying with Charlie Kirk right now. I'm going to show you because the hypocrisy is on full display. That's one. I'm going to show you that. Then I'm going to show you what the head of the FBI is doing in his court hearings right now. And we're going to look at his abrasiveness, his disposition to the situation he's in. And we're going to listen to the words he's choosing. Then I'm going to show you what else is going on in Congress, where now they're just straight up saying aliens are real. They just bypass what's in the ship. Now they're just real. All the people out there that have been reporting these experiences, all the people that have been asking for help, everywhere you look where people have been talking about this, bringing forth evidence and being laughed and ridiculed, right? Now it's real, right? Have you ever thought to yourself this? If it is real, have you ever thought that the U.S. government would have the biggest lawsuit in their hands? It probably, like, if the so-called black people in America would actually just do the genealogy and claim their Aboriginal American status as being indigenous to the land, not American Indian. If you do your homework and you even know what an American Indian is, you will know why we are not American Indians. That was there were three parties. There was the Federates or the Federation. There was the white Whigs, and there was the Native American Party, man. Go do your homework. This is why white people feel entitled and empowered to call themselves Native American. You ever heard one of them say, I'm an Aboriginal indigenous American? Of course not. So don't confuse yourself if you do understand, right? The moment we take some sort of independent action on that, not as a collective, but independent. If each person go out there and do their own genealogy and be responsible for knowing who they are, when we come together, we're stronger than ever. You don't take a bunch of weak pieces of faulty bricks and put them together and think you're going to build a strong foundation or a strong house. Each brick has to be strong and complete and whole. But my point is, if you go and you see, when you looking at this and you hear what they doing, the biggest lawsuit in the world is on their hands other than reparations to the enslaved indigenous Aboriginal people. Because what you are saying is, if that is true and you admit they are real and that they've been here, then that means you did make a pact with them, that you did allow American citizens to be kidnapped in the middle of the night, then decided to go behind the kidnapping and re-kidnap them to find out what the kidnappers did. The biggest lawsuit is coming. I will be on that lawsuit. And many others will. There will be justice. They know it. It has to be. It is just the way it's written. It's just the way it's the ebb and flow. Now, I'm sharing this stuff, but if you really want to get more deep into where I really go, because all of this is an illusion, and if you really want to get out of that illusion or wake up and be able to do what you want when you want and then jump into the illusional Disneyland anytime you want, then please go to my other channel, Talib Kearns, There's Only Now. Please check out There's Only Now. on YouTube. That's another channel I have. I don't go into these kind of things. I only deal with the things that have brought me out of these things and allowed me to still be healthy, successful, and mentally sound, and spiritually open to the unfolding that already is all around us. So check that out. But that's where I'm sort of going. I have it all sort of set up. These are different videos. I have a video from Jason A. I like two of those from Jason A or something like that. And I got one from Forbes. And then the last one I'm gonna close out in, because after we talked about the alien part, I'm gonna show you, because this is all marketed. Remember, if you think aliens are real, or you're open to aliens and you ain't actually seen them, then you're one of the many that's been programmed with Steven Spielberg and Close Encounters of the Third Kind and Batteries Not Included and Independence Day and Paul and all the other films that have been subtly programming you for it. You've been marketed. Everything. Look around your room right now and tell me you have something in it that wasn't sold to you. People don't even know who they are anymore. They don't know. You don't even know. Because you never knew how the mind operated. So you still under the delusion that you're this me, but you don't know what the me is, and it's driving you crazy because you're trying to figure it out. So guess what they get to do when you're doing that? They could just throw anything there. Now it's you. You're a collection of thoughts and experiences that you believe happened to you. That's what you are. Beyond that, what are you? You are the boundlessness, the absolute freedom, the one energy expressing itself through all things, and always has and always will. You don't even think about that. And that's what creates the problems. But we're going to go into that. But what I'm going to end on is my man, Stefan Burns, who is a cosmologist and astronomer and very, very good at it. You know, I follow a lot of his stuff because he always brings the information from Phobos and CS and a couple of other prominent satellites that monitor the activity of the sun. And I want to show you how there are about 6 or 7 comets that are entering in at the same time as this 3-eye atlas, which is another object that all of a sudden, the science that was laughing in people's faces saying, why don't you just take pictures with the aliens? Or how come you don't steal something off the spaceship? All of a sudden, this thing ain't even got close to the sun yet, and they already telling you that it's aliens. And somehow they already know what the aliens is going to do. They're going to get over here and they're going to drop a probe. Why? Because we would. Why would they do what your monkey ape ass would ever do? You are about 100 million years behind their development. What makes you think they even thinking in the same spectrum as you? I mean, I'm not from that spectrum, and I can think of something more intelligent to do than just shoot out probes. They didn't have to come to Earth to know what. How in the world? Why would you think that they need to come to Earth to find out what's going on here when I can open up a cosmology book right now and tell you what Jupiter is made of, Saturn, the Cat's Eye Nebula? Oh, how? Oh, well, we have instruments and we done mathematics and we understand these things, so we can tell you by the density and all types of information what the planet is made of. But somehow aliens wouldn't do the same thing. They would need to come down here to know it's Earth. And didn't y'all shoot a signal telling everybody where we was? What's our DNA sequencing? What type of music we listen to, what type of frequency band we're on. You sent that all to space. This is how you know it's a PsyOp. because it conveniently wants you to forget all the other stuff. It's very convenient. So, without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and get this popping with the first Jason A video. And we're going to talk about some of the hypocrisy that's actually in this video. This is pretty next level with how just how hypocritical it actually is. So once I can get this screen going properly. Okay, sorry about that. Having a moment there. I don't know.
All the rest of it, that all this is going to be burned up and consumed.
And now
if we take all of that.
We don't want to hear none of that. We don't care about none of that. Let me tell you something right now.
Imagine bringing your side.
When it comes to these people talking to me about their religion, and I'm sorry, if you are one of these people that actually believe that you believe in a deity that would punish you for what they made, then you really don't, you're not someone that I could actually engage with on a certain level, because you see the world a certain way already. And I know better than that. So there would be no point in trying to convince you that what you're thinking is actually not true. There'd be no point in attempting to make you see that point at all, because your only rule of engagement at that point in that individual would be to naturally try to make me believe what they're saying, because their whole intention, they don't even know. This is there are pendulums. Pendulums are from the ethereal realm. This is not like what you're thinking. It's a mind. It's a greater mind. And there are things that exist within it, because that mind is meant all things and everything, right? You're taking you suffer based upon your connection to what you think is real. And what you think is real comes from the sense of there's a me. And that's what they don't teach you. But here's what we're going to do. We're going to get into this one real quick. I'm going to go ahead and mute myself so we can listen. And I will come back in. Turn this camera off.
In this country are looking away. We are looking away. As you say a lot in your...
The devil a foothold.
So I started the book's research and writing about a year ago, and I knew, as you say a lot in your monologue, that things are deteriorating not only in the United States. This is not an American problem. This is a worldwide problem. And my opinion that I inject into the book, backed by facts, is that too many people in the world and in this country are looking away. We are looking away. And we are allowing evil to gather power. And you can just analyze it from every point of view. From every point of view.
Charlie Kirk got shot and killed. How do you feel?
Happy. Goodbye.
See that Charlie Kirk just got shot and killed?
That's good. Girl, someone had to do it.
He was a disgusting person with disgusting beliefs.
Yeah, he's a I'm like, yeah, he's an you know?
He's
it. You got what you deserve. I'm sorry. You're a bad person. Bad things happen to bad people. Celebrate it. It should happen more often. Not death necessarily, but like karma. Big fan of it.
It didn't used to happen, but now it does. Too many Americans and people all over the world are so self-involved, so selfish, so weak, so afraid that they are allowing evil to grow at an exponential rate, a rate that is horrifying. Horrifying.
All right. I think y'all can hear me now. Okay. I wanted to jump in real quick and just show you this is the ultimate form of gaslighting. I want you to notice this this guy is a true scumbag. Bill O'Reilly. This is one of the worst they got they could produce right here. I just want you to notice something now. Right? I want you to notice how they're gaslighting you. They're gaslighting people into becoming violent and fed up and irritated and overwhelmed. And most importantly, they're putting it into their heads that they don't have a choice. And by doing nothing, they're cowards. And look what's wrong with you. You're horrible people. But just keep in mind that this year alone, and I'm not a Republican or a Democrat, okay? I don't believe on either side of the PsyOp. But let's just put that out there. There was a senator that was actually killed. There was a Democrat, and there was another senator that was killed. Well, it wasn't killed. He was shot 17 times with his wife, and he lived. But you didn't hear nothing about that. They're not saying nothing. Notice, right? They are now, before, when it was the other way around, when it was the so-called left that was actually doing what? It was the left that was being I guess you would say persecuted, right? They were hollering how violent the Republicans were. They've been hollering how violent they are since the legislation of gun control. Right? Now, look how they use it. This is a corporate thing. It's marketing. It's marketing. That's how they socially engineer us, is through marketing. Because just before, they were the bad guy. Remember, all the school shootings wasn't attributed to the leftist ideology. It was right-wing extremists in their viewpoint and all of these NRA guys. And every time a school shooting, they brought up the NRA and guns, and every time somebody was shot, that's what they mentioned. But look, and that got them very far, didn't it? It got them very far. And now we're watching the same game being played again. Right? And you know it's a game. There's clear symbolism here, gold and black tie. You thinking, oh, but that's symbolism for war, for upheaval. Now, did he deserve what happened to him? Who am I to say what he deserved? Who are you to say what that man deserved? Only life gives what is deserved. We're watching something play out. They want to orchestrate an emotional state. They're comparing this man to Martin Luther King. How? All these people here in America that are or foreigners and immigrants, they here because of us. Civil rights opened the door for all that, all the grants, all the money, all the education, all the schools, all the loans, all the houses, all the jobs, all of it came from it. And they marketed it to us. Don't believe it? Go look at movies like Coming to America. Go back and watch oh my goodness. If you go, you got to go back and see the shows that had the highest rating. I will give you a list. I will prepare a list to start showing you, but it's just a little of your own research can show you this. So let's finish watching because this is marketing.
Fine. You know, on a podcast a couple of months back, Charlie was asked about how he'd want.
EVE Online is a vast universe.
Charlie was asked about how he'd want to be remembered if he died. His answer, I want to be remembered for courage for my faith. That would be the most important thing. The most important thing is my faith, and that was Charlie. And in this dark moment for our country, I think that's the greatest lesson any of us can take from Charlie. To have faith in the Lord, and to be bold in how we glorify him. To be bold in our pursuits as Charlie was in his. So that's what we're going to spend a little bit of time doing this afternoon. Keeping this incredible show he created going and hearing from some of the people who were so fortunate to call Charlie a friend. We're going to pay tribute to his courageous legacy, and we're going to commit to keep it forever alive. I'm looking forward to this. Join us.
Ezekiel described, he said, if the watchman sees the enemy coming and doesn't sound the alarm to warn the people, he is responsible for their captivity. We have a culture that's being taken captive. We have generations have been taken captive. And
now listen how they project it. You see, the funny thing about these guys that like this Bible thumping stuff is these guys don't never read their book in any kind of sequential order. These guys don't, that you could take this man right here, question him, sit him down, and start pulling out Bible verses, and if it's going to be outside of the realm of his talking points, he's not even going to know it. He's not even going to know it. Now, Jason A., the channel I'm watching, showing you this from, it's been around for a long time. This person is never shown their face. They are clearly, I don't know. This is obviously, they always make a very particular type of video, connecting it to something. And the funny thing is that a lot of these prophecies that they keep mentioning from their book already was fulfilled. The prophecy wasn't talking about 1,000, 2,000 years later. Right? But guess what? They've been setting you up for this one for a long time. A long time. A long time. I don't even want to listen to this guy go too far into this. Here, let's get right back into this madness that they calling facts.
Speaking out.
Instead of saying sorry, ousted MSNBC analyst, if you want to call him that, Matthew Dowd, is trashing the network for firing him after these despicable comments. Listen.
We don't know if this was a supporter shooting their gun off in celebration. He's been one of the most divisive, especially divisive younger figures in this, who is constantly sort of pushing this.
He's not just a divisive younger figure. This is the guy. This is the guy. When you hear these young guys speak in a certain way, and saying, oh, I'm not racist. I'm just speaking facts. I didn't use those words. I didn't say that. No, they crafted a whole new language because these people understand NLP. They understand it. You don't, because it's not because you can't or you're incapable of learning it. You just didn't know it was something you need to learn. NLP is neuro linguistic programming. They speak a double tongue. They speak around and bypass your normal cognitive functioning conscious brain to communicate with you on a subconscious level where you are unaware. And he is one of the first. This guy's been around for years. He started this whole movement with these young dudes and these guys that feel a certain way. He's the reason they feel this way. Oh, no, he doesn't. He just represents what they're feeling. No, you don't understand. It's marketing. And marketing now is not. See, it was a time where brands were created to suit and fit the people, created from the people's needs. Now brands are creating people to fit the brand's need. That's right. Let's get back to this because this is funny. It's not funny, but funny in the sense of, no, let's not even use the word. It's inappropriate. This is fascinating, right? Because we're watching all the tricks, all the wag the dog tricks come out in real time. And if you've been around long enough, these aren't new tricks. These are very used tricks that we're very familiar with. The only difference is when they didn't have social media the way they did, and they couldn't do it at the level they're doing it now. But the basic of the formula is identical.
Sort of hate speech or sort of aimed at certain groups. And I always go back to hateful thoughts lead to hateful words, which then lead to hateful actions. You can't stop with these sort of awful thoughts you have and then saying these awful words and not expect awful actions to take place.
Yeah, have fun being unemployed in that. The network of
comedians make a living off of saying hateful words. And now notice what's going on. I don't know if you see this, but we have gone straight Nazi, bro. This is straight Nazi Germany now, right? We're going to arrest you, get you fired. We're going to do everything we can because you are using hate speech. Let me let you in a little secret, ladies and gentlemen. There's no such thing as hate speech in the First Amendment. There's nothing that says what you say. If you say something that somebody else, there is nothing that says you cannot do that. You are absolutely 100% free and entitled and encouraged to do it in America. They just turned it up on 10. Now we all talking about this, but we're not talking about the National Guards popping up everywhere. Right? We don't went from Puffy to a whole bunch of other stuff to this. You all over the place. What's next? Once we get a little tired of this, they probably throw the war back in. Right? Because did you forget we were all going into World War III? Did y'all forget that Russia launched bombers, nuclear bombers, that they claimed they violated Poland's sovereign border? Are you even paying attention to the fact that India has said we're not getting your oil because we're not paying that tariff, and we're just going to keep getting our oil from Russia? And that India is selling oil to Europe? Like, bro, are you aware of what's happening around you? You're not, because they got you on this now. Now everything else in the world is, just a minute ago, everybody was high on October 7th. Everybody was very upset with what's going on. Now it's not about this, about this guy. And both sides are enthralled. Let's continue to hear what this madness is, because this dude Jason A, he did a good job pulling it, but is it a good job, or is it just a really well psyop? Maybe the psyop is the good job. His job is to create psyops. Let's go.
Apologize for the comments, but Dowd doubled down on his nasty rhetoric and is now accusing MSNBC of caving to the, quote, right-wing mob.
You know, Rita, it's the most visceral reminder of evil in our midst, evil in this realm, at least since October 7th. This has been the personally saddest that I have been since October 7th, and it's also just the most visceral reminder that there is such profound, unmitigated evil. And you know, some of the specific details are. I mean, I don't even have words for this. I mean, demonic, satanic. I mean, out of the pits of hell. I mean, use whatever verbiage you want to do. You know, at the University of Louisville in Kentucky, there was some caricature on a.
Notice, good, evil, evil, evil. They have to stick the landing on this evil stuff and show you that it is the epitome of all crimes to commit, because let's face it, we're super saturated with information. We're over endowed in information. See, and everything is a meme because you live within the simulacra. You live in a version of reality that's a version of reality that's a version of reality that happens to be a version of reality. You don't live in the real world. You don't live in the real world. You live in simulacra. Right? And what's this image? See, I paused there for two, but you hear the language this guy's. I've never been this sad in my life. What happened when your grandfather died or something? You lost a close relative. Oh, Charlie Kirk was closer to you than your own blood. Right? Look at this picture. What do you see? And what do you think come next? You see in this picture exactly what I was telling you he started. Look at it. That's what he started. And they'll tell you they felt isolated and and all these other things, and that's what made him so appealing. No. That still was they doing. Do you realize they removed the industrial and manufacturing of America? That was the lifeblood of middle class America. They gave you service jobs, Uber, and reality TV with dreams of I can be rich. Go to school. You don't live in a permission-based society anymore. All these men you see in this, they were sold on a permission-based society, and when they woke up, they realized they didn't live in one anymore and felt they got cheated. And then this guy started saying, hey, did you feel cheated too? But who cheated them? The same guy who sent him out there. Oh, man.
Bulletin board saying debate this, and it was, I guess, a caricatured version of Charlie getting a bullet into the neck there. There was some other story that I saw of a third or a fourth grade elementary school teacher showing the video of him getting shot to the students there. I mean, you know, this is someone who should not merely be fired from being an elementary school teacher. That person should be publicly flogged, like literally flogged with lashes in the town square and probably sent to a mental asylum.
As I woke up this morning and saw the clouds, and it was kind of
this is straight insane. Now notice he said his whole thing, how heartbroken he was and how cruel, remember good and evil. So all of a sudden he ends on some real weird, cynical, biblical note. Oh, these people that's the woman showed. We didn't get no context. I don't know how that ended up in the class. We don't even know if that ended up in the class. We don't even know what type of school it was. We don't know anything, right? We don't know. We don't even know if she was teaching elementary school or it was a college teacher. We have, not to say that that makes it better or anything, but the thing is, it's so generalized that your mind is left to create the worst possible case scenario, to take it as far as humanly possible. You have no understanding of that. Now all of a sudden, you're going to tell me that these people didn't say nasty things when other people died. Now, I don't want to have to go and use an example like George Floyd, but look at Eric Gardner. Eric Gardner was the first person that was saying, I can't breathe, when he was choked out by NYPD on camera in front of people too. Nope, none of that, right? So you see, we've been watching them do the very thing that they sitting there complaining about. But what is it? It's not, it's a psyop. So it's not just meant to make you feel like they lost or stupid and they don't, and where is this coming from? It's intentionally rage bait material to upset you using the new language, and now they kicked it in the drive. They've been programming you for chaos. They've been programming you for it, and now they're using the words every chance they can, good and evil. They want you sitting around swearing up and down. Now remember, they're the ones that are trying to get you ready for this rapture. But you go check their own database and you're going to find that they tried to project, they had the technology to project the second coming of Christ over Cuba in the 70s and 60s. Think about that. You can look it up. It's a fact. So this right here is manufactured rage. You see, the weaponization of marketing was so intelligent. It is to make your competition's brand illegal. And what are they trying to do? Make the other brand left. The left is a brand. That's a brand. And you know what's under that brand? Veganism. So let me see if we could skip past this rhetoric from this dude. Hold on. Okay, guys, I'm gonna move on to the next video real quick because that video is pretty much over, and that guy just goes way too hard for me at the end there. You know what I'm saying? I really can't do that. I don't have a problem with anyone who does. If it makes you a better person and allows you to be of benefit to humanity, then kudos to you. And I'm very glad you are one of those people that actually that does that. But for me, I'm not going down that road. And that's just where I stand with that. I respect it, but I also understand that that whole thing was taught to you all wrong anyway. It's not even what they say it is. It's an allegorical metaphor and for states of consciousness. It has nothing to do.
What if one day you decided to leave everything behind and start traveling the world?
All right, so I muted it because I didn't want you to, I don't want to do that to you guys and have you listening to nonsensical nonsense when you don't have to. Okay, so what I want to do here though is we're gonna go through this hearing real quick. You're gonna get a little taste of this right here. Because I want to show you this is all connected, right? This is all connected. And we're gonna look at another thing that's being marketed right now to us. Okay. I might leave my mic on. Let me know if my mic being on while this is going, if it's interfering.
Left off last time, I asked you whether you had any knowledge or discussions about removing FBI officials and installing political personnel before you were confirmed to that position. And I wonder, did you then understand or have conversations with the White House about the intentions to do so?
Before I was confirmed?
Yes, sir.
Did I have discussions with the White House to remove FBI personnel?
Yes.
No.
So you're saying that you had no discussions with the White House before you were in the position about the removal of any personnel from the agency?
As I was preparing for my confirmation hearing, I had numerous discussions involving the type of people that would be employed, and that those that were failing to meet the mark at the FBI would no longer be employed if I were
And I'm assuming
confirmed.
that mark had to do with loyalty to the Trump administration.
No, you're wrong.
Okay. I'd like to revisit another subject from that hearing. Did you testify, you did testify before the grand jury that President Trump had declassified the documents at issue in the Mar-a-Lago classified documents case. Is that correct?
I don't have the grand jury transcript. That's why I released it. Whatever it says is the best evidence.
That's what you said to Senator Whitehouse, that your grand jury testimony was publicly released. It has not been. In fact, in July, a court denied a news outlet's bid to get that transcript. But the court said quite clearly that you are free to discuss your grand jury testimony. So I ask you again, did you testify before the grand jury that President Trump declassified the documents at issue in the Mar-a-Lago classified document case?
And that is why I took your invitation to work with the department and the court to have that transcript released. And the transcript is the best evidence of what I said then.
So you're saying right now this committee can have access to what you said before the grand jury?
To whatever was released. Under my understanding, Senator, that the Department of Justice
You and I both understand the law. Let me finish. I understand under Rule 6 of the Federal Rules of Procedure, a grand jury witness, in this case you, is not barred from sharing their grand jury testimony. This is an oversight hearing. This is germane to your integrity and credibility. You know right now whether or not you testified that President Trump declassified the documents at issue in the Mar-a-Lago classified documents case. Why are you refusing to answer that simple yes or no question?
The question is inaccurate, and
the president of what is truth or not.
How do you know if you weren't there?
Mr. Patel, I'm making this simple.
It's a question. If you don't.
Now, note, this is after the stuff with Charlie Kirk. Right? I paused it here. I want you to just look at this man. And you don't need to be an expert. To see that he feels extremely entitled. Right now, he's speaking to a superior, not an equal. He's not an equal to them in this hearing. He's not an equal. Orion asked What are aliens? Good question, Orion, and thanks for asking. Aliens is a PsyOp term that was created to explain the fact that human beings aren't the only one in existence. Also, aliens is a cover up for the group of beings that these people have been dealing with and interacting with. Alien, in a more technical term, is something that is foreign. Some of these beings aren't aliens. They're not foreign. They can be found throughout human culture, through oral stories, lore, and other written documentations that we have classified as either mythologies or fictions, works of fiction. So I hope that answers your question. If you're talking about who they're dealing with a group of fugitives that some might call the Greys or beings from Zeta Reticuli. The fact is that there are a bunch of different type of Greys, but they are not only dealing with Greys. There's 30 different species. 2 of them is technically fugitives. The other ones got trapped down here with them, and they still interact with us, but they try to stay distant. Here, that is from what I know and from my personal understandings and experiences, Orion. That's what I do know. Right. So going back to this, and thank you again, Orion. Thank you for joining. Thank you for listening, and thank you for sharing your question. I hope it answered your question. And if you have any other questions, please don't hesitate to ask. But we can see in his body language, there's a level of arrogance here that is clearly on display. And he wanted to be on display because he knows he's being filmed. He's telling this guy, hey, man, if you knew about what's said in the grand jury, why don't you have it? Huh? Why don't you have it, huh? Go ahead. Tell us why you don't have it. Who does this? When you know that there is an air of unsettling and unsettledness in the air, and unrest to the 2 political parties, which you are the FBI sitting in the middle of a lot of this stuff because you answer to both sides. So where's this arrogance coming from when something so touchy is on the table right now? Let's just finish listening. And it's not a long one. We're not going to listen. It's a pretty short clip. It's just this clip with him interaction, about 10 to 13 minutes long. We'll get in and out of it, and then we'll move right along to the next one.
Hearing, you promised that, quote, all FBI employees will be protected against political retribution. When I asked you, are you aware of any plans or discussions to punish in any way, including termination, FBI agents or personnel associated with the Trump administration, you explicitly said under oath that you were not aware of any plans to punish FBI agents associated with criminal investigations of Donald Trump. I don't believe you were truthful. Firing FBI employees based solely on the cases that they are investigating, their case assignments, is illegal, and you know that. A new lawsuit that's been discussed numerous times, filed by 3
So I just got to say this, because why you think he started firing a bunch of people? You think he's going to make it seem like, well, it seemed like you let these people go because they weren't favorable to Trump, or they worked on certain cases that was against Trump. But did you ever take a second to think that he needed to get all the unloyalties out? Did you ever think who would benefit from Charlie Kirk becoming a martyr? Who would benefit? Right now, they're trying to put it off on ISIS Raw L. They're trying to put it off on ISIS Raw L. But they wouldn't benefit from turning him into a martyr, would they? It would actually make more of his base not like them. And if the point was he was turning people against him, then they would have just shot theyself in the foot, technically. Well, not technically, figuratively. So I'm going to get back to this, but ask yourself, who would have benefited from that?
Three FBI officials alleges that you carried out Donald Trump's campaign of retribution, in quotes, against FBI employees for, quote, failure to demonstrate sufficient political loyalty. One of those plaintiffs has been discussed today, Brian Driscoll. Now, we know 20 years of distinguished service to the FBI before you terminated him. Special agent in charge of FBI's Newark field office, where he operated with distinction. Medal of Valor winner, Shield of Bravery awards. He's a patriot. You terminated Driscoll via a letter dated October 8th, 2025, and in that letter you said that you were firing him pursuant to Article 2 of the Constitution. Well, you're not the President of the United States, and so I'm wondering under what authority you were allowed to terminate him.
That matter is under litigation, and I'm not able to discuss it.
Okay, well, discuss this. Did you have discussions with Stephen Miller about firing this particular person or about his continuance in the FBI?
Not that I recall. Not that I recall.
How often do you speak to Stephen Miller?
Frequently on our Homeland Security task forces.
You frequently talk with Stephen Miller about subjects other than Homeland Security task force issues, correct?
I frequently talk to Mr. Miller about Homeland Security.
Do you hear this guy? Do you hear the sass, the attitude? Do you hear the non-masculinity? This is a man who's hiding something. And he obviously feels that he doesn't have to answer to him. What do you think he thinks he knows? He doesn't have to answer to them. He's not like, now I've seen these hearings before. I've seen Zuckerberg in these hearings. I've seen Comey in these hearings. I've seen many people in these hearings. Let me tell you what the ones who are trying to be sassy usually do. I'll have my office get back to you with the letter about that. Unfortunately, I have no recollection of that. I love this country. Listen to this man. There's something about to go down, and these guys know it. They so excited about what they know, they barely can contain themselves, because we just watched this guy be a bumbling idiot. The FBI did not catch that man. They love priding themselves on this stuff. They got something like a 96% rate in arrests. They gave us a picture and they was like, we can't release his name yet though. Who does that? Here's what I'm going to do. I don't care about Charlie Kirk on that level. I don't want to say anything negative or bad about him. This ain't about him, about what he was even talking about. This is actually about what happened. And none of it adds up. You don't jump from a building that high and walk away unless you're trained. Because you got to know how to fall, or you're going to hurt yourself, period. Who takes the gun apart and then get in the wood and put it back together and leaves it there? We done seen this too many times, but the problem is They did it through movies and entertainment, a place where you are forced to suspend your disbelief in order to enjoy it. And marketing. They have marketed assassinations to you. They have marketed. You watch people get assassinated on a movie and laugh and think it's entertaining and spend money to see it over and over again. You don't even realize your nervous system has no idea between the difference. See, you wonder why you're anxious and nervous all the time. You spend half your time watching people die and the other half of the time watching people be betrayed. Let's get back to this guy. He's hilarious. He's on one right now. This is good. Ooh, we got some good streaming tonight, y'all. Let's get on it.
Security task forces.
Has Stephen Miller ever given you his opinions on how to run your agency?
Mr. Miller's interagency operations are invaluable to the FBI. That's what we talk about.
So you frequently discuss your job and your responsibilities with Stephen Miller and Pam Bondi, I imagine, as well.
Absolutely. She's the Attorney General.
Understood. Okay. Donald Trump promised to make us all safer. You have pushed out senior FBI agents with decades of knowledge and experience. In fact, this is the first time in FBI history that neither the director nor the deputy director have any experience with the FBI. You've shifted the agency's priorities primarily to pursuing Donald Trump's immigration enforcement agenda. According to ICE data, the Cato Institute, which is a conservative think tank, found that 20% of all agents have been diverted from their work to assist ICE immigration enforcement. 20%. Part of this operation is the work of mass law enforcement who jump out of cars, snatch people off streets at churches, schools, and their jobs and hospitals. Have there been any FBI agents who investigate crimes against children that have been assigned to immigration enforcement, yes or no?
The premise of what you say is entirely false.
Have there been any FBI agents who investigate
no.
foreign domestic terrorism?
You don't get to say America is not safer under this leadership.
I am not saying
America
that.
is safer because of the work of the FBI.
You're making a presumption.
Do you hear it? He just struck a chord with his ego. Something's going on. Something's about to happen, y'all. When I say it's about to happen, I mean something is happening. And by the time you realize it, you're the frog in warm water. You want to get past all this? Let go there of the sense of there's a me. Let that go. They convince you that everything you need is outside of you. And if everything you need is outside of you, then you're always trying to get to it. But once you understand it's all inside of you, you realize it's nothing I have to chase. Then life unfolds. All these things you're trying to get to are already happening. They're already there now. You just can't see it. But I'll tell you what we can see. We can see this guy's ego on display. It's full mass. No Diddy. We're going to get back to this guy and this, yeah, because we're almost through this. And then I want to get on the, I may show you a little more of this, but then we're going to move on. And then I'm going to call it a night so we can get back to another day and bring more information.
Assumption of
4,700 children.
Sir,
we have seized 6,000 weapons and 23,000 violent felons have been
FBI
arrested.
Agents who investigate human trafficking have been reassigned to immigration enforcement. You are not denying that FBI agents who are on the task force that fight against Russian oligarchs have not been reassigned. Public Corrections Squad reassigned. People who defend children reassigned. You're not denying that. I've seen you time and time again attack my colleagues' premises of questions as a way to not answer the question. So let me end with this. I believe you have made our country weaker and less safe. I believe that we are more vulnerable to a major event, and I pray to God it doesn't happen. You've gutted the Bureau of Institutional Knowledge and Expertise. You fired or pushed out seasoned FBI officials, many with more than 20 years of experience, and were working on cases that were critical. You've been purging.
We've destroyed an enemy cruiser.
You've been purging thousands of serious law enforcement officials who spent their careers keeping us safe, only to lower hiring standards in order to find anyone to replace them. And shockingly, you admitted in this hearing to Senator Coons that it would take 14 years to fill the vacancies at your agency. Many are the result of your purge. 20% of FBI agents are doing low-level immigration enforcement instead of their mission-critical work. You've disbanded entire task forces that stop election interference, foreign influence, public corruption. And who benefits from this? Well, corrupt people benefit from it. Criminals benefit from it. Vladimir Putin benefits from it. And it really makes me wonder who you're looking out for. It makes me think we can't trust you as a nation. You swear to release the Epstein files, but now you're withholding the Epstein files. You claim that you have a suspect in a serious assassination. Whoops, then you don't have a suspect. You know nothing about plans to remove FBI agents, yet you're directly involved in those plans. In the words of an ex-FBI official, you are overseeing, and I quote, generational destruction of the nation's premier law enforcement agency. Mr. Patel, in just 8 months, you have assaulted the institutional integrity of the FBI. But I know FBI field agents to keep us safe, but you can tarnish the integrity of the agency and undermine the agency's capacity. I believe you're failing as a leader. And your failure does have serious implications for the safety and security of Americans and our families. We're more vulnerable to domestic and foreign attack because of your failures of leadership. I don't think you're fit to hand the Bureau, but here's the thing, Mr. Patel. I think you're not going to be around long. I think this might be your last oversight hearing. Because as much as you supplicate yourself to the will of Donald Trump and not the Constitution of the United States of America, Donald Trump has shown us in his first term and in this term, he is not loyal to people like you. He will cut you loose. This may be the last time I have a hearing with you because I don't think you're long for your job. But I'm going to tell you this, I pray for you. I pray for you that you can step up and defend your oath, defend the Constitution, and do a much better job of defending this country. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Do you want to say anything?
Yes, sir. That rant
Now they're gonna let this guy sit there and you see, we already know who the Speaker of the House is, so we know what side he stands on. But now he's gonna let him speak. Now it's set up in a way, the marketing is genius. This is Pepsi versus Cola. This is genius, man. It's gonna make it sound like he's discovering all these terrible things about this guy. But the grand jury stuff, they already know. Everyone in that room know. They all got memos. They all got, a lot of them got the transcript. They all know. They're having this meeting because they know, but they still are allowing him to lie. He's not going to jail. He's not about to lose his job. He's probably getting paid for being there. That's right. And he's gonna go off on him. And the reason I'm playing this, maybe you could have just started there, but I think that was just too rich. I think if you've been watching and listening, you probably enjoyed watching this guy unravel when you really understand the PsyOp. Now that you saw the marketing, you start thinking about it from this perspective. You start seeing that, oh, he's one of the hotheads. You ever seen the mob movies with the guy who's in the mob? He gets in and now it gets to his head, but he's actually like a coward, you know? And when he's in the right position and he's feeling like he got the upper hand, all of a sudden he got a whole lot to say. I mean, you don't have to watch, well, if you grew up in New York or the Bronx or any major city, we've all known guys like this. So now, with that in mind, listen to what he say and just go, I wonder what he's talking about.
Of false information does not bring this country together. If you want to work on bringing this country, it's my time, not yours.
My God.
If you want to talk about
dividing this country,
it is
I
my
follow
time.
you on your social media posts that
It is
tear
my
this country
time
apart.
to
There
address
should be a
your
unifying-
falsehoods.
Oh,
You are an
you can try
embarrassment
all
to the
you
division
want
in this
to
country.
not take
It is my
responsibility
time.
for what
You
you
had
have
your
said.
time.
Sir, you're
Your
making a
time is
mockery of this
over.
committee. Sir, you don't tell me my time is over.
You
The
know how
people
far
of New
we've
Jersey
come
tell me
since
what my
you
time
tell-
is.
Senator-
You can't lecture me.
You can tell me
Sir,
my time's over?
You may be the charge of the
I'm not
FBI,
going anywhere.
but I am not afraid of you, sir.
Mr. Chairman.
Not afraid of you.
Mr. Chairman, point of order.
Senator Booker, I announced at the beginning of this meeting that this back and forth talking over each other doesn't work. And I said if that happened, I asked Patel not to respond, and I was going to give him some time after the senator's time was up to respond. And he has the privilege to do that uninterrupted.
Mr.
So
Chairman,
go-
one point of
Go
order.
ahead, Mr.
I've
Patel.
watched him talk over us, and you've never once criticized him for us not even be able to get our questions out.
Well,
he has been rude and disrespectful to senator after senator.
And when the senators were not giving him a chance to answer, I didn't stop the senator either. Go ahead, Senator.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. If the FBI, under my 7-month leadership, were failing this administration in this country, why do we have 23,000 violent felons arrested this year alone? A double increase from that time last year. Why is it that we have seized 6,000 weapons? Why have we found 1,500 child predators and arrested them? Why have we 300 human traffickers in jail? Why have we found and identified 4,700 children? Why have we seized 1,600 kilograms of fentanyl, enough to kill a third of the American public, a 25% increase alone from last year? 88,000 kilograms of cocaine seized, 7,000 kilograms of meth seized, and that's just on our criminal operations in summer heat. How is it possible that we are taking 8 kilograms off the streets of the cities in New Jersey and preventing the
Not gonna let him go into, as you see, Okay, I think my microphone, this thing has been, my OBS was hesitant to actually start the audio, but I'm going to repeat what I was just saying. If you listen to the last part of what he was just saying, you ask yourself this: how in the world did he know that he was going to be asked that? Okay, he was sitting there reading his rant back to everyone because he had prepared it. And the question becomes, what in the world is he doing? Who gave him the setup that way so that he would know that he should have these particular talking points? Now, if you say it was because he was listening, and if you're watching, he's writing, he's not writing those talking points off, because what he was just repeating were statistical numbers that he wouldn't be able to rattle off of his head. That's just the fact. He wouldn't have been able to rattle those numbers off his head, right? And the speaker said that he spoke to him, and he told him he would give him an opportunity to talk. What? Why? It's an inquiry. He's not there to give a speech and explain on his own. He's there to be asked questions by our Congress to explain some of the mishaps and his behaviors. And I know you probably didn't hear this a second ago, but if you're still with me, I thank you. But listen to this crazy part here. This is what I'm talking about. Cory Booker is sitting there getting upset with this man, and he's literally laughing and smiling as he's attempting to berate him. Then the Speaker of the House goes off and says, "You will not disrespect him." Now notice this old guy, and you can see it in his body language. You already know what he believes in. And this, you see what I'm saying? So he wanted him to be quiet so this guy could get it off and it be on the record, because he wants to keep reiterating, along with the other people that believe in this guy, that he is a good employee and President Trump is a great president. But if you're a sensible person, you have to wonder why these men we know do not like a big part of the population are so gun-ho about him, if he didn't assure them to some way he held similar belief systems. You think they gave this man all that money and he don't believe what they believe? Think about that and ask yourself this again. Question of the night: who benefits from his death? Who benefits from a civil war? That's not good for us, but someone's pushing for it. So who would it be good for? If a group of like 7 men came in and supposedly flew buildings, allegedly, or they're saying they did, into a plane, and they stripped all your freedoms away for it, what would they do if they thought we were the terrorists? I guess the only thing left to take, since they've taken your freedom, your privacy, your security, your dignity, I guess the only thing left is your property. Oh no. I guess everyone is finding out that you really don't even own the things you have. So now let's go into our next big PsyOp that's all happening at the same darn time. Yeah, you gotta work with me. Don't worry, guys. Better internet, better shows, everything's getting better. It don't need to get better, it's what it is.
Imagine being able to build an app with your name on it, just by thinking about it. Meet Base 44.
What if these are entities?
All right. So, here we are. Let's bring this up. Wham. Congressman Tim Burchett just revealed that entities are coming from 5 to 6 deep water sites on Earth. Burchett has been involved in UFO and UAP exposure since 2023. All right, here we go.
You're about to see them again. Just watch up above the horizon, and they're going to get really bright.
What if these are entities that are here on this earth, that have been on this earth, that who knows how long, and that we, you know, we think they're coming in from way out. Maybe they did millennia ago, but they're here and they're in these deep water areas. And that's why, I mean, like we say, we know more about the face of the moon than we do what's going on there. And we have a higher propensity of sightings around these 5 or 6, I believe, deep water areas. And so to me, it just, it creates a question there. And then when we have naval personnel telling me that we have these sightings and that there's these underwater craft they're chasing that are doing hundreds of miles an hour, and the best we've got is something that does maybe just a little under 40 miles an hour. So I got a lot of questions about that stuff, and I mean...
Let's have a look at this first of all. This is Charlie Kirk's video from last year about a UFO over Wisconsin.
You're about to see them again. Just watch up above the horizon, and they're going to get really bright, and then they're going to go away. See them? There's 2 of them right there. Those are not airplanes.
Yeah, they keep circling.
They just keep circling, and they're going to go away.
And there's nothing on your radar right now?
No, there's nothing there. I can zoom out.
Now the light's going out.
They're gone.
Have you ever seen anything like that before?
Wow. Nothing on the radar, but these are not airplanes, according to those 2 guys in the...
You see how it's all connected? Now we got Charlie Kirk's video of UFOs after he's gone on a plane, talking to the pilot who's saying, you see these objects? You see it? No, man, look down there. It's not on my radar. It's all connected. It's the greatest marketing ploy ever served up. They are just going, we did it. We are doing it. This is unbelievable. I can't even believe it's working this well. I knew it was going to work, but not this well. Listen. Okay, let's see. Here we go.
Cockpit there. Richard, very good morning to you.
Good morning, Mike.
What was that, do you think?
Well, it could easily have been a UFO. They like to call them UAPs now. They've sort of changed the name, but the same thing. There's been sensational information out this week in Congress, including the fact that the most powerful missile America has just literally bounced off an extraterrestrial craft last October. And this was shown to people in Congress. But on this tragic day, I thought I'll just have a look, because he was a champion of free speech.
Now, this is the funny part. This thing made it onto a news show and several other news stations. But if you do a little investigative homework on this thing come from the military, bro. They don't have a source for this video. For all I know, this is artificial intelligence, but they riding with it, and the U.S. military not denying it. Nobody's denying it. They don't even think you're going to look into it. If you do, who cares? Because you'll be one of the few, and you'll just be a part of some sort of controversial disagreement on something. Doesn't matter, because now the story's circulating, and once you see it, you can't unsee it.
Charlie Kirk, and indeed he did have this sighting. He did film it last October, and he did put it up. He got millions of views on X. So I wouldn't quite say he's an enthusiast, but he was certainly an honest, free-speaking person, and he certainly hasn't ruled it out being extraterrestrial.
So what are we looking at here? It says they are here. Is that...
Now, along the way, something that came across my path in this was that I was contacted by a CEO of a think tank in Washington, D.C. This is back a couple of decades ago. He says, I want you to come and participate in a conference here in Washington. I said, well, frankly, I'm too busy. What's it about? He says, I can't tell you what it's about, but if you come and you participate, you will consider it later to be one of the most important conferences you ever been to. Well, since I have respect for him and knew his background and many things he's done, I did finally decide to come to this conference. I'm 50 people. I recognize some of them from the military, from CIA, DIA, some businessmen, and so on. So I thought, well, this is quite an interesting group of people. And so, to start the conference off, he said, this conference is about disclosing something to the American public. As a startup position, let's assume that there have been crash retrievals by Russia, China, and the United States. And the question is, can we bring this out to the public? And so I think and most of the people I knew, when you talked to them later, said, oh, this is really cool. I mean, this could really go someplace. So he said, okay, the strategy we're going to use is we're going to make a list of all the areas that you think would be affected by this. And then on each one, you're going to have to grade them on a scale from +9 to -9 as to the level of impact and whether it's positive or negative. Okay. So we started out by making lists. So we started out with the obvious.
Monday.com, the opposite of any word we tried in the past. We tried to name platforms, not naming names. They all suck.
Maybe religions. Well, certainly politics would be affected. So we made a long list, and it was really a long list. And the time we got down to the bottom of the list, we were really in the weeds. Like, okay, if corporation A has access to retreat materials that corporation B doesn't, then when this comes out, corporation B is going to sue corporation A, they're going to sue the government. This is really going to be a tough thing to kind of handle. Okay. So anyway, we broke up into groups, each taking a certain number of the things that were in our list. Okay. And in my group, we added up the numbers, +9 to -9. And we ended up in the negative category, even though we were kind of positively disposed to the idea. So I thought, well, maybe that's a good thing. So then two other people list, we should to make a long story short, it turned out that everybody went through these lists. There's a specific situation, it means all that stuff. It's like the bad, not the problem. There's no way to handle all the time. And so the my goal was for the that divorce. So this is thinking. So anyway.
Yes.
UFO struck by the Hellfire missile, it just bounces off it. Is that what we're seeing?
That's right. Yeah, that was shown at Congress on Tuesday by. House of Representative person. So what we're looking at there, that's they're passing.
All right. So as you see, right, they are trying to pump us up that they are here at the same time getting us ready for total all out confusion. But it's not just confusion. They got to get you pumped up and emotionally chaotic on the inside so you will respond exactly how they want. Remember, whenever these things go down, they never go down the way Hollywood shows us. Hollywood pumps us up so we can be the frog in warm water. When they tell you about zombies, they show you the most extreme outcome, the most unbelievable situation. That's how they do that. That's their best method. Because when the thing goes down for real and you saw people outside bent over on, they say fentanyl and other kind of drugs, and they literally, I've had a situation where I was coming from my son's graduation and some crazy, I guess you got to call them what they are. The guy was screaming and foaming at the mouth, and he ran out, and it wasn't traffic. I was on, I want to say the 101 or the 5 highway in California, and I had to swerve around him because he ran out and tried to jump on the hood of us on a car doing 65, 70 miles an hour. Right? But no, you won't think about it like that. And when you do, you'll laugh because you'll be like, oh, dude, that's The Walking Dead. Ha, oh, Dawn of the Dead. Yo, he's Dawn of the Dead. Right? You make these movie comparisons, right? Therefore, you're in the simulacra because you're comparing reality to a film, something that was planned out. Now, before I go away for this evening or morning, depending on where you are, I'm gonna give you one more thing. Now, this 3-eye atlas supposed to be here soon. But just check this out. Now that it's getting closer, let's just see what I want to. We're not gonna watch the whole thing. I'm just gonna let the beginning of this video play, and that will be that. But I'm not gonna play this whole video here. So give me 1 second. Let me get this set up, and I will play this last about maybe a minute of this one video just so you can hear this one piece of specific information.
Go into the fold and turn website layouts into an art.
Hold on. We almost there. So just give me 1 second. I suggest you go check out Stefan Burns if you're into the sun and into what's happening in our solar system. He's very, very knowledgeable. He delivers this information fairly and pretty accurately, always gives you the numbers, gives you the prediction models, because all of these things are prediction models. They don't know what's going on right now in space. They don't know. They have no way to predict that immediately. So I'm going to go ahead and just share this small part. I'm going to just mute this so it don't act weird on us. But I'll keep the camera open.
To the inner solar system, and this is bizarre because of. Hey everyone, geophysicist Stefan Burns here. We have a bunch of comets right now flying into the inner solar system, and this is bizarre because of how many it is. It's literally Hey everyone, geophysicist Stefan Burns here. We have a bunch of comets right now flying into the inner solar system, and this is bizarre because of how many it is. It's literally a swarm.
Okay. Okay. I'm having some technical difficulty, but I'm gonna get through this, and I just want you to hear this one little part, and that's it. And then I'm gonna get out of there because I'm having some real issues with this. But you know what? It's not. It's just apparently what's happening. But this information has been great, and I've been glad to share it. And I'm gonna just keep going, and it only gets better, you know. So I'm gonna mute this so you can hear.
Hey everyone, geophysicist Stefan Burns here. We have a bunch of comets right now flying into the inner solar system, and this is bizarre because of how many it is. It's literally a swarm of comets. We are tracking 7 different objects 2 of them have already performed the perihelion. The rest will do so over the course of the next few months by the end of the year. And so this is like a very dynamic end to 2025, at least as it relates to cometary activity, because we see a lot of connections between comets and solar activity, like big solar flares, coronal mass ejections, and more. We have one of these objects, that's 3I Atlas. We're not really sure if it's a comet or not. It's more of an interstellar object. It has a lot of bizarre characteristics to
that was all I wanted to share. That I just wanted to show you that 7 comments on top of the 3I Atlas all of a sudden, because they've been telling us about this thing for months, but all of a sudden 7 more comments, and 2 that was just discovered in the last 7-8 days. So why aren't they, let's see how quick they are to tell us that these comments are also ships and other objects that may be crafts that have intelligent life upon it. So I'm going to leave you with that for tonight. I want to thank you for joining me. Also, I want to let you know I'm moving this channel over to a new channel, right? You can find it in the description. It's called The House of Strange Production. There we'll go over the book stuff, the movie stuff, the music stuff, the review stuff, and also the conspiracy stuff, and definitely the alien stuff. I'll share more of my personal stories and experience, and you can join me over there. You can ask whatever questions you like to ask. I will answer them. If you don't know, go check out Heavy Gems on MREC TV. Go into his playlist, or just go on YouTube and go in the search bar, type in MREC TV Heavy Gems, pull that up and see what I'm talking about when it comes to the stuff I know. Everything I'm saying, I have receipts that show is my receipts. You will find plenty of evidence, proof